Everybody. Let's talk today about some of the commands that you're going to need to run here at the Linux command line. So let's open up Terminator, and I'm going to go flip over to the video profile so it's a little easier to see on the video and make this a touch bigger. So the first thing we're going to do is I want to go ahead and go into my downloads directory. So I'm going to type CD for change directory, and I'm going to type down, and then I'm going to hit tab and have the shell auto complete that for me. So I can save a little typing if I can use the tab and auto completion feature. If I look in here, I can see that I've got the Linux test directory and the tar file that we downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and make a directory called new data because I want to add a new plain text file into that directory. So I'm going to run that command and then check to make sure that that was created correctly, and we can see that listed right here. So if I go into the new data directory and run ls, I see that it's empty, right? That's good, I just created it. So if I want to make a text file, just a plain text file, I'm going to use a text editor to do that. And one of the easiest to use editors that we have here is Geany. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm just going to go ahead and type in here, hello CS, and save that. And let's navigate over here to the new data directory that I just created, and we'll call that message.txt. And so if we look in the directory, there it is, right? There's message.txt. We just created that. And since this is a plain text file, right, we don't need any special software to view that. I can just go ahead and use the cat command to do that, and I can see exactly what's inside that file. That's what makes a plain text file so nice, is that it's easy to transfer between multiple pieces of software. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this file that I just created to the parent directory. So I'm going to use the copy command. I'm going to specify the file, and the way I specify the parent directory is just 2 dots. And so remember, the parent directory here will be the downloads directory. So that worked successfully, and let's just make sure. So I can do an ls and specify the 2 dots to look at the parent directory, and now I can see message.txt is listed there in the downloads directory. So let's go ahead and move back up to the parent directory and make sure that we understand where we are there. And what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and move that message.txt file into the Linux test directory. So I'm going to go ahead and use the move command to do that. And once I do that, I can see that message.txt used to exist here. And now after this move command in the ls, we don't see that anymore because this was moved down into the Linux test directory. So let's follow it, and let's go into Linux test. And if we do an ls, we can see that in fact it is right there. And if we cat that file, we'll see that that is exactly the same file. It's got the same contents as before. So again, that's a plain text file. We also have this file called exam2review, and this was made with LibreOffice. And if I cat that, I get something that looks like this. Clearly not a text file, not a plain text file. This is a binary file that's got a lot of formatting in it. It uses characters that aren't easily displayed at the terminal and aren't easily interpreted by other pieces of software. So this is not a plain text file. So just to make that distinction. So I'm going to clear the screen here to get rid of all of that. And so we were using Geany to produce this text file, and we want to figure out where Geany lives. And so I can say, which Geany, and this tells me exactly where Geany is over here. The slash indicates the root, the first slash here indicates the root of the file system, and then there's a directory called user, and then a directory called bin, and then inside there, there's an executable file called Geany, right? It's a piece of software that we can actually run and execute, different from our message.txt, which is a text file that we can't execute. So some other things that we can do in here is we can run cat on the Magna Carta, because we have that in our documents directory. It's a really long document, and it all just kind of spammed by there really fast. So we didn't get a chance to read it. And so if we want to see it a screen at a time, we can pipe our cat output right here through the more command, which is what we have right here. So that's going to take the output of cat and make that the input of more. And the job of the more command is to show us one screen at a time. And that's exactly what's happening. We can use the arrows or the page down key to move down the document. We can also use the / to search. And so we can see things like night in here. And so it's up there. It's a little maybe hard to see, but there it is right there. So Q lets you quit out of here. A command similar to more, but maybe a little more powerful, is less. And so we're just going to go ahead and use that command directly. We're not going to use cat. This is going to show us a screen at a time. The nice thing here is we've got a little bit more information there at the bottom of the screen, and I could page down and I can also page up, so I can move up and down in the document. I can still use a / to search, and so I'll search for night again, and now it highlights it, so it's a little bit easier to see. Hit the / again and enter, and it takes us down to the next instance of night. A Q again quits us out of this command. So if we want to understand these commands a little bit more, here at the command line, we've got the manual tool, which is just man, and then we can specify the command, and that'll tell us, we'll accept the defaults here, that'll tell us about this particular command. Sometimes it's a little bit cryptic. I'm not so sure what this means, but this makes a whole lot of sense. It's going to show me text one page at a time, which is kind of what I wanted to see. And I can check less as well. And so I find out that less is the opposite of more, which is absolutely true, not super helpful. But if we look down here, we do see that we get told that less allows us to move backwards in the file as well as forward. So that's kind of a big difference between less and more here. Q gets us back out of here. So another way to get to those documentations is to come over here to Google, and if you just type in the command that you would have typed at the terminal, man ls or man more or man less, you're going to get a web page probably that satisfies that. And so these two sites in particular, man7 here and linux.net, are two kind of nice places to find the man pages online. They're a little bit easier to read. Their web pages are searchable as well. And so that makes it a little bit easier than reading it here in the terminal. Okay, so let's take a look at where we are again, right? We've still got this message.txt file hanging around. And so let's go ahead and get rid of that file. And so I'm going to use the rm command to do that. So rm will get rid of your file. And then if we look again, it's now gone. All right, so this was kind of a brief introduction to some of the important commands that we're going to be using this semester. And good luck